Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing on this lovely Monday? I hope you guys had a great first day of the week. It is about to start pouring rain here, so it is very dark outside, so I apologize my lighting is a little crazy today. I'm coming to you with the second part in the two-part series that I promised yesterday, where I'm going to recommend 6 books. It's really 6 books for your long trips home. Now, every book yesterday was about 200 pages or below. Every book today is over 200 pages and are for your longer trips. If you have a couple of hours where you're trying to get a good, solid read in, all of these books are amazing. I want to say, I think all of these books but one are available also in paperback. But the one that's available in hardback is most certainly worth the purchase. I kind of made a joke about it being 7 books because I do want to say, if you are flying from, let's say, California to New York, and you have not read Pachinko by Min Jin Lee, now is your chance. I'm not going to say much about it, mainly because this book was so popular last year. But I know a lot of people waited for it to come out in paperback. The paperback is gorgeous. And if you want to just be immersed in a book about a culture and about a family and get a saga and just really be swept away for that 5-6 hour flight across the United States, don't forget about Pachinko, okay? But it's not on my list, but it's on my list. Let's get started with something that's fun and a little bit, you know, just a great adventure sortie. That is Jane Steele by Lyndsay Faye. This is a sort of a retelling of Jane Eyre, but it is it's hard to say that a gothic novel like Jane Eyre isn't dark, but this is much darker. Basically what it is Jane Steele is a character who is orphaned, becomes friends with someone, and starts killing bad people. And she has legitimate reasons to kill these people. And it's about her relationships. It's about her returning home to the place where she grew up and where her first murder occurred. It's about all sorts of different things. It is a great book to just get lost into. It has sort of that Dexter-esque feel to it. Like, you know why she's killing these people, but it's that moral conundrum of whether or not killing anyone is the correct thing to do. It is fun and it is playful and it is just a great book to get lost into if you have a long flight. So that's Jane Steele by Lyndsay Faye. Definitely worth it. And I think Lyndsay Faye's new book comes out in the new year. So if you haven't had a chance to read this book, you really, really should. So again, Jane Steele, Lyndsay Faye, totally worth it. Let's say you're going for something and you want a little more, I don't know. This book was really hopeful to me, and that is No One Can Pronounce My Name by Rakesh, Satyal. And this is the story really of 2 people. We have, let me get some names because it's been a while. We have Harit, who is a man who has been taking care of his mother since the death of his sister. And he has never really developed a friendship and a world of his own. And then we also have, let me see if I can get her name, Ranjana, who I just think is a great character. Ranjana is a mother of a single son who is left for college. And after he leaves for college, she is also looking for just some sense of community outside her marriage. There's also some issues within her marriage. This book is about finding yourself. This book is about relationships, not only friendships, but also romantic relationships, coming to terms with who you really are as a person. It also has a really cool sort of writing undertone to it. So if you like those books about writers, this is sort of that book for you too. I laughed, I cried, and I was totally absorbed in this book, and this cover is super fun too. So that's No One Can Pronounce My Name by Rakesh Satyal, and it's definitely a book that will keep you entertained for that long flight. Or drive, if you want to do the audio. The audio of that is also very, very good. Okay, another book that I'm going to recommend, and it really is again on my radar because if you haven't had a chance to listen to my friends, the Book Cougars, and their interview and book club review of Hum If You Don't Know the Words by Bianca Marius. I highly, highly recommend you check them out. And then I highly recommend that you read this book. But this is a book that I struggle to summarize. So let's just read the back. Life under apartheid has created a secure future for Robin, a 9-year-old white girl living with her parents in 1970s Johannesburg. In the same nation but worlds apart, Beauty Bali, a woman from a rural village, struggles to raise her children alone. The two are brought together by the Soweto Uprising, a protest by black students that ignites racial conflict and leaves Robin's parents dead and Beauty's daughter missing. In the aftermath, Beauty is hired to care for Robin, and the two forge an inextricable bond through their deep personal losses. But Robin knows that if Beauty reunites with her daughter, Robin could lose her new caretaker forever, so she makes a desperate decision with devastating consequences. I know that Bianca had a, I guess the word for it is, I don't know, a caretaker, a nanny, when she was younger, that this book is dedicated to, that she is still in contact with. And everybody that reads this book raves about this book, and she herself, the author, is just absolutely lovely. So if you are looking for something in South Africa, a country you probably or maybe have not read a lot of literature from, and a different perspective, this is Hum If You Don't Know My Name by Bianca Marius. And yeah, I think and then go listen to the podcast, download the podcast, read the book, and then listen to the podcast of my friends, the Book Cougars, and their interview with Bianca. There you go. Okay, who wants some historical fiction? I have two choices for you. Becoming Belle by Nula O'Connor is the story of Belle, who is a young woman who comes from a very, very economically challenged, that's a weird way to say that, family, but she winds up getting involved and moving to London and marrying into a family that she is not expected to. And their marriage really takes sort of on a political tone. And I think what it says here is William, she falls passionately in love with William, Viscount Dunlow, a young aristocrat. For Belle, her marriage to William is a dream come true, though his ruthless father makes it clear that he'll stop at nothing to keep her in her place. As their marriage takes center stage in London's courtrooms and in the newspapers, Belle finds herself on trial not only for her wedding vows, but for the very life she worked so hard to create. So if you're looking for something, I think this is set in the 1800s, starts in 1887, and I want to say it's Irish. Yes, Irish. So if you're looking for some historical, you know how it is. Do you guys have this problem? You read so many books over a year, over 2 years, over 3 years, that you just sort of have trouble keeping all of the details straight. That happens to me sometimes, especially when I'm talking about books in succession. So this is Becoming Belle by Nula O'Connor, and definitely a book that if you are wanting to get lost in a historical fiction, this is one for you. Okay. The next one is one of those books that I know we all like, where there's a historical fiction in a modern time, and how are they going to intertwine? And that's The Masterpiece by Fiona Davis. This is set in Grand Central Station in New York City, and this is the story of two women. One is in the 1920s, I want to say late 1920s, there was an art school in Grand Central Station, and she is an artist there, and this has to do with being a female artist at that time for her. Then we also have a woman who is in modern day, I want to say modern day, modern 1970s, 1970s, working there, where she finds the art, and she finds this art in the Grand Central Station, and how that and its investigation into its history sort of intertwines both of those stories. I met Fiona Davis at Book Expo America. She is just a nice, lovely lady. I know that everybody really likes all of the books that she has written. So this is The Masterpiece. It is out right now, and this is by Fiona Davis. If you don't want to go this one, I know that her book, The Address, is also highly thought of, but I have not read that one. So this is The Masterpiece by Fiona Davis. Last but not least is probably the shortest book on this list, I think. but one that cannot be forgotten. And that's The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This is a retelling of the story of Troy from the point of view of the women who are taken as prizes after their towns or cities are conquered. This book will have you from page 1. The narrator, who I cannot say her name, so I'm not going to even try because I've already butchered a bunch of names here today. But she is the queen of her city. When she is taken, she then becomes Achilles' prize. And this is how she sees the rest of the time in Troy as the Greeks attempt to conquer Troy. All of the people are there: Agamemnon, Odysseus, Patroclus. I cannot, how do I say his name? Because I need to see it on the page, and I wonder if I can find it. It is definitely a fantastic read. The relationships of those women, so good. And it's got a heart-stomping sort of, I don't know, you just want good things to happen. But it also has that real sense of Greek theater and the gods and the goddesses, and you also have sort of this war going on and the intrigue of that. And the first section is told totally from this woman's perspective, and then through the rest of the book, Achilles will actually step in and have conversations. Patroclus. I don't know why I can't say his name. If you have not read this, or if you have and want something and haven't read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, that may be a good substitute. I read this book this year. I'm giving you a heads up that it is in my top 10 books that I've read this year. I will not forget it. It is excellent. So that's The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. So worth the read. So this is 6, really 7 books for maybe those longer trips that you may have to take home. All of them are excellent, all of them worth reading, and all of them getting lost in. And I hope that some of them make it on your TBR, and maybe you pick up one to take on your trip home this holiday season. As always, if you are a return subscriber to my channel, thank you so much. If you're new to my channel and you picked up one of these books for your trips, I'd love to hear about it down below. As always, until next time, happy reading, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!